I took her. She said we should hook up the boyfriend and booger. Don't know me that nigga, I'm being the clouds. Pool full of Henny, I drink and I drown.
Hey guys, what's up? It is Sam from Harkey Fishing coming to you with another video fishing report. It is Wednesday, and tell you what, we've got beautiful, beautiful weather today for the fishermen. We're here at the beautiful Shell Knob Bridge, getting ready for the Wednesday night jackpot, and wanted to call and kind of just give you guys a few tips and stuff of what's going on with the lake. Lake level's been pretty consistent. It's dropping just ever so slightly. It's sitting at 916.6 right now, and it was 916.8 3 days ago, so it's dropped like 2 inches over 3 or 4 days. So basically stable water. Water temperature, you know, on these sunny days is actually getting up pretty dang high. My fish finder, it's been since Friday since I was in, and we were running right around 58 degrees. It's showing 67 right now on my fish finder, which I am in pretty muddy water. I'm gonna flip this thing around and see if you can see this. It's pretty muddy water here at Shell Knob. So anyhow, that muddy water warms up pretty fast, and so it may be 67 surface temperature. I'm sure down a few feet under the surface, we're probably still sitting around 60 degrees, but this warmer water is going to definitely start kicking these fish into gear. We've been the fish are several weeks behind on the spawn, and really I think the spawn is basically on now. I think those fish are the males are rushing up to the bank. They're getting up there nice and shallow, and they're defending and making beds, and the girls are hanging out just a little bit offshore, waiting to move up, and things are going to happen real quick. You know, on the new moon and the full moon, especially the full moon, I think it's really going to be a phenomenal spawn. Now, you know, the funny thing is, it's funny, us fishermen talk about how we can't wait for the spawn to get here, but in all honesty, spawn's a pretty tough time to catch fish. So, you know, just because the spawn's coming doesn't mean it's going to be great. When the fishing is great is usually right before the spawn, and then especially right after the spawn, because before the spawn, the fish are really trying to feed up and have enough energy to make it through the spawn. I mean, it really wears them down to go through a spawn. And then after the spawn, they're guarding the nest and guarding the fry, and they're pretty aggressive at keeping things off the nest. So, you know, these fish are moving up, and you know, as far as what to do, I would highly recommend that you start finding some pea gravel, kind of mixed rock pockets. So mostly pea gravel with some bigger rock in it, ledgy type rock. Keep in mind that the coves, those bass, when they're spawning, they're looking for a protected cove and a cove that gets sunlight. And so think about the wind. Our predominant winds here are either south or west. So a lot of times, and since we live in the northern hemisphere, the sun's going to shine on the northern banks most. So look for pockets and stuff kind of on the north side that are protected from a south wind and protected from a west wind. If you can find that kind of bank, you're going to really have some luck in there early on. And as the spawn gets later, you can actually kind of flip-flop that. You can think, okay, the pockets that are on the south side of the lake, they warmed up a little slower, but they may be at the ideal temperature, and so you can start checking out pockets on the south side of the lake. So you can kind of play that game and hit mostly north pockets when it's on the early part of the spawn, hit south pockets towards the later part of the spawn. As far as what you know, what baits to use right now, there are a lot of things working. These fish like to spawn next to cover, whether that be rock, you know, stumps, timber. They use boat docks a lot. These things will spawn under the cover of a boat cable. I mean, there's really hardly any cover there, but they love to spawn under those. Or some of the floating docks here in Table Rock have the like a little ladder thing that goes down that keeps them off the shore. And those things love to spawn under those as well. So I'm kind of a dock fan. I love fishing around docks, but if you see a laydown or a shelf rock, there's going to be a fish on there. And I would throw either a Chomper's finesse jig at those things, throw a shaky head worm at them. Right now is when like Ned rigs really start kicking in. Those Ned rigs really work good with a light weight on them. Don't throw a big heavy 1/4 ounce head on them. I mean 1/16 or at most an 1/8 on a windy day. Throw a light head so that Ned rig just slowly kind of flutters down to the bottom. On that note, you know, anything that's moving real slow, when those fish are defending a nest, they're looking for anything that's fluttering down. Split shot rig right now with a Fish Doctor or a little Chompers 4-inch centipede works great. The old Zoom Fish Doctor works great. Throwing a 5-inch floating Senko. Man, those things, a Wacky Rig Senko is a way to just tear them up this time of year. So, man, that stuff, if it's not already turned on, it is turning on. And so, you know, throw that. The things that I don't have a whole lot of luck with this time of year is a lot of fast-moving baits. I will throw a spinnerbait after dark, and the spinnerbait or a chatterbait. And those two things will still work after dark on a few of those things. But, you know, when we think about these fish being on beds, they're hoping that something moves across that bed quickly because they don't want it to potentially threaten their fry. So, you know, most of the time, this time of year, you want to slow it down, but you can have some great luck this time of year fishing slow and on the bank. I mean, as far as depth-wise, you know, start shallow and then move out slowly. You should not be having to fish deeper than about 12 to 15 foot this time of year. In that ultra clear water, they will spawn down there at about 10 to 12 feet. But if you have any sort of color to the water, you know, expect these fish to be anywhere from 6 inches down to about 5 to 6 feet to spawn. And those females right now are staged right outside that, so 6 to 12 feet. And you should have some good luck. Good time to catch a big fish. So, man, thanks for watching the fishing report. You know, real quick, kind of, I like doing this. Like, what do I have tied on? And I pretty much just told you. I have got a black spinnerbait on for this night tournament. I got a black chatterbait tied on. I've got a peanut butter and jelly shaky head tied on, a peanut butter and jelly Chompers finesse jig, and I've also got a swivel head tied on just in case I decide to throw it, and I've got a Texas rigged lizard on. So, you know, that's what I'm going to be throwing tonight. Something that'll be, you know, that I can fish slow. I'll throw that spinnerbait a little bit tonight, but I'm telling you, most of the night I'm going to be throwing a shaky head or the old Chompers finesse jig. So, man, until next time, keep your lines tight, take a kid fishing, man, and get out and enjoy this beautiful lake that we live on, man. Thanks again. See ya.